Your mind is power. Learn to control it before the sun breaks the horizon, before the world begins its noise and demands. We wake, not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. There is a battle waiting for us each morning, and it is not out there in the streets, or in the market, or in the opinions of others. It is here, within. We rise to meet our own minds. There is a truth we must confront. Our mind is power, not potential power, not abstract power, real, immediate, shaping power. It builds our reality from raw perception. It decides whether we are enslaved or sovereign. And yet, most of us drift through life as servants to impulses, to anger, to fear, to envy, pulled by invisible strings we refuse to see. So each morning, we begin again. We conquer the first thought. The first action of the day is silent and invisible. Before we move our bodies, we examine our thoughts. When the alarm cuts through the dark, the mind protests. It whispers, "Stay. It is cold. It is early. You deserve rest." But we have trained ourselves to pause before obeying. We ask, is this thought worthy of command? Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private reflections, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." He did not shout at himself. He reasoned with himself. He reminded himself of his function. So do we. We are not here merely to feel comfortable. We are here to act in accordance with our highest nature, to think clearly, to serve with integrity, to endure without complaint. The first victory of the day is small but decisive. We rise when we said we would rise. In that act, we declare that the mind does not rule us through weakness. We rule it through principle. The day bends to the one who conquers its first thought. 2. We separate what is ours from what is not. Still in the quiet of morning, we perform the second action. We divide the world into two realms. There are things within our control, our judgments, our intentions, our responses, and there are things beyond it, weather, markets, traffic, other people's moods, the past. Epictetus began his teachings with a line that cuts like a blade. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. This is not a casual observation. It is a law of freedom. When we confuse the two, we suffer unnecessarily. We try to control the uncontrollable and neglect the only domain that is truly ours, the inner citadel. This morning, we anticipate obstacles. We imagine the colleague who may speak harshly, the delay that may disrupt our plans, the failure that may test our pride. We do not do this to become anxious. We do it to become prepared. If it lies outside our will, it cannot injure our character. If it lies within our will, then it is our responsibility. By drawing this line clearly, we regain power. The chaos of the world no longer overwhelms us, because we have narrowed our battlefield to the only territory that matters, our own mind. 3. We rehearse adversity. The third action is uncomfortable, but it strengthens us like cold water strengthens the skin. We contemplate loss, not morbidly, not with despair, but with sobriety. We consider that today we may lose comfort, reputation, money, or even the presence of someone we love. Why? Because everything external is fragile. To pretend otherwise is to live in illusion. Seneca advised, "He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand." When we imagine hardship before it arrives, we blunt its sting. We transform shock into recognition. If we expect life to be smooth, we shatter at the first crack. But if we expect resistance, then resistance becomes our teacher. This practice dissolves fear. Destructive emotions, panic, desperation, clinging feed on surprise and attachment. By rehearsing adversity, we detach from the illusion of permanence. We remind ourselves, everything we have is on loan, and when something is taken, we will not collapse. We will grieve if grief is natural, but we will not be destroyed. Our stability does not rest on what can be stolen. It rests on the discipline of our own reason. 4. We guard the gates of judgment as the day unfolds. Impressions rush toward us. News headlines, comments, glances, successes and insults. Each one knocks at the gate of the mind. Here lies the fourth action. We refuse to accept every impression as truth. Epictetus warned, "Don't let the force of an impression carry you away. Say to it, 'Wait for me a little. Let me see who you are and what you represent.'" This is the moment where power is either claimed or surrendered. Someone criticizes us. Instantly, anger surges. The mind screams, "They disrespect you." But we pause. Is that interpretation necessary? Could it be ignorance? Could it be their own pain speaking? A plan fails. The mind whispers, "You are incompetent." But we examine the thought. Is it fact? or is it judgment, layered on fact? Destructive emotions are not born from events. They are born from our interpretation of events. If we master interpretation, we master emotion. This does not mean we suppress feeling. It means we investigate it. We become philosophers of our own reactions. We ask, is this response aligned with virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, or is it the reflex of ego? When we guard the gates, fewer enemies enter. We practice voluntary discomfort. The fifth action is deliberate friction. We choose the harder path at least once each day. We take the cold shower. We complete the difficult task first. We speak the honest truth when silence would be easier. Why? Because comfort is seductive. It softens the will. Seneca practiced periods of poverty, wearing rough clothing and eating simple food, asking himself, is this what I feared? He trained his mind to see that discomfort is not catastrophe. When we willingly step into discomfort, we build immunity to fear. We prove to ourselves that we can endure. The mind, once it recognizes this, grows bolder. Modern interpreters like William B. Irvine speak of this as reducing our anxiety by confronting the things we dread in small doses. We become less fragile. Destructive emotions often arise from aversion, now a desperate need to avoid pain. But if pain no longer terrifies us, what power does it hold? We are not seeking suffering, we are seeking strength. Each chosen hardship is a reminder we can survive more than we think. And in that realization, we become free. We reflect at dusk when night returns. We perform the sixth action. We hold court within. Before sleep, we replay the day, not to indulge in regret, not to inflate pride, but to evaluate. Where did we allow anger to slip through? Where did impatience take control? Where did we act in alignment with our principles? Seneca described this nightly ritual. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said. This practice is not self-condemnation. It is self-correction. We are both student and teacher. We acknowledge our failures without excuse, because excuses weaken the mind. We also recognize our progress, because progress fuels perseverance. In this quiet audit, destructive emotions lose their lingering poison. Anger that was examined becomes insight. Fear that was understood becomes strategy. Shame that was faced becomes resolve. Each day becomes a lesson. Each mistake becomes material for growth. We do not drift through life unconsciously. We sculpt ourselves deliberately. 7. We remember who we are. The seventh action is the thread that binds all others. We remember our identity not as titles, not as possessions, not as social masks, but as rational beings capable of choice. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is not a comforting slogan. It is a responsibility. If our mind is power, then every uncontrolled outburst is a misuse of power. Every indulgence in envy, every surrender to resentment, every spiral into self-pity, these are abdications. But the reverse is also true. Every moment of restraint, every act of courage in the face of fear, every calm response to provocation, these are acts of sovereignty. We are not victims of emotion. We are stewards of it. Even modern voices like Ryan Holiday echo this ancient conviction, that obstacles are not interruptions of the path, but the path itself. The very things that threaten to destabilize us are the training grounds for our mastery. So when anger rises, we do not curse its existence. We see it as a test. When fear tightens its grip, we do not collapse. We see it as an invitation to courage. When sadness visits, we do not drown. We examine it, learn from it, and let it pass. We remember. Emotions are signals, not sovereigns. The red thread from dawn to dusk. The pattern is clear. We conquer the first thought. We separate what we control. We rehearse adversity. We guard our judgments. We embrace chosen discomfort. We reflect with honesty. We remember our true power. This is not a single day's discipline. It is a lifetime's practice. There will be mornings when we fail to rise with resolve, days when anger bursts through the gates, nights when regret feels heavy. But even failure becomes fuel, because we return to the practice. The world may remain chaotic. People may remain unpredictable. Fortune may rise and fall without warning. But within, something steadier begins to form. A mind that does not panic. A will that does not bend. Is a character that does not fracture under pressure. This is the quiet revolution. We do not need applause. We do not need validation. Our victory is internal and therefore unshakable. The more we discipline the mind, the less we are controlled by circumstances, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, we transform. The anger that once consumed us becomes measured response. The fear that once paralyzed us becomes calculated caution. The envy that once poisoned us becomes admiration without bitterness. We become architects of our inner world. And when we stand before adversity, true adversity, the kind that strips away illusions, we do not beg for rescue. We stand firm, because we have practiced, because we have trained, because we know that even if everything external collapses, the core remains. Our mind is power, not power over others, not domination, not noise, but the power to choose our response, the power to endure, the power to remain just when injustice tempts us, the power to remain calm when chaos screams, the power to act with integrity when shortcuts seduce us. Each morning, we return to this truth. Each night, we recommit to it. And in the space between waking and sleeping, we fight the only battle that truly matters, the battle for mastery over ourselves. Let the world do what it will. We will govern our minds,